Fort Mercius is old and strong. Its reputation for durability is equal to that of Aryan Road. Are we really going to leave this to Claude, with a plan concocted by Hilda of all people? I would like to, but I am always troubled by how secretively that man devises his scheme. Let us hope the end result is not too outlandish.
It can't be. My relationship with the Boar Prince began even before I was born. He was always by my side. You might even say that, at one time, we were best friends. I couldn't fathom the depth of his hatred for the Empire. So much anguish. Could I have saved him? Could I have stopped him?
What the?
Smells like a brawl. Smells like a brawl. Won that bet.
Saw it coming!
Wonder there's a bounty on my head. You're fresh out of luck.
Doesn't matter how sturdy the keep. If the commander defending it is incompetent, it can fall as easy as anything. That's what they say, at least. I wonder if that applies to Fort Mercius. All I know is, if I was the Emperor, I'd never in a million years assign an incompetent commander to a fort as important as that one.
Hi.
It's always so peaceful coming back here. But it's hard to relax knowing we have to go out on another expedition again so soon and assaulting that huge keep. That sounds hard. Oh, really hard. Don't you think it'll be hard? Of course you'd say that. Why'd I even ask?
Hey!
Professor? Fort Mercius is next, huh? Ah, the memories. It's a huge stronghold in my father's domain. The town's completely surrounded by high walls. I used to run around there when I was a kid, way back when a fortress was just a playground for me. Yeah, those were the days.
Hey,
The fish in this pond get fed every day. So they're swimming all lazy and serene, but the only reason they're kept here is so that they can one day be used for food. But the fish don't know that, so they just swim around happily. It's a bit of a miserable thought. But aren't soldiers much the same?
No.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Is it true that we'll be assaulting Fort Mercius next? That doesn't sound like the brightest idea. I've heard that it's built to withstand an attack from even the largest of armies. And not to tell you how to do your job, but don't do it. I'm not ready to say my final goodbyes to everyone.
No, Sam. A class reunion on the battlefield? That's bleak. That must have been so hard on everyone. You gotta keep looking after them all. I mean, they still look to you for guidance, you know?
Professor!
Hey!
Hey there! We merchants of the Alliance territories were excited to hear of your victory in the last battle. We don't much like the prospect of doing business under the heel of the Empire. The Alliance is what we know and love. But more than that, it's low on regulations, which is great for business. Please.
Claude takes care of the strategy, you direct the troops, and the rest of us focus on the fighting. As long as the system keeps working, we can win any battle, no matter the odds. That's what everyone's saying, anyway. Hope you can keep up with our expectations, Professor.
After the battle at Gronder, some people claim they saw my father. They said he walked off the battlefield clutching His Highness's dead body. So long as Father's alive, I don't need anything else. I hope to see him again one day.
No.
Wow, I hardly recognize everyone. Their faces have changed so much. More experience in the eyes, and more pain. I'm glad that they're stronger, but I hate to think they've all become hardened killers. Look after them, okay? Try to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Professor. Among our prisoners of war, there were quite a few people who served His Highness. One of them stated that the Empire was involved with the tragedy of Dusker. If this is true, His Highness's motives seem clear. I can't help but feel that perhaps I should have been fighting by his side. No, not anymore. I am where I belong. Those of us still on this plane of existence will carry the torch. The inhumane actions of the Empire must not be repeated.
I never used to care whether I lived or died, but after seeing so much death firsthand, I now realize how precious life truly is. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was to think that death could mean so little.
So, you know, Professor, laying siege to a keep is like asking a girl out on a date. First, you get past her defenses, then you make your move. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a seasoned veteran at this kind of thing. Girls, I mean. I've never actually, captured any keeps. Anyway, you know more about tactics than me, so I don't know why I'm offering you advice.
Thanks. I'm glad I asked you.
Hey!
Hi.
Definitely.
After that great battle earlier, the balance of power in Fodlan has shifted greatly. To get revenge for all our fallen friends, we'll have to stake our lives on the fight that lies before us.
Professor, I have a question for you. Have you heard of the Death Knight? I'm referring to that Imperial general who has been operating under that moniker. Nothing is certain yet, but I get the feeling we'll have to face him soon enough.
Yes.
What?
Hey, you.
Teacher. Dimitri, the late Prince of Fargus. He despised the Empire with all his heart. He should not have tried leading an army while his emotions were holding him captive. No. If a leader's emotions overcome them, others must step in to prevent poor decision-making. Why did his followers not intervene? His attendants. I used to call Edelgard my leader, and now she is running amok. I am duty-bound to stop her.
Professor, standing face to face with those whom I went to school with. On the field of battle, how inhuman war is. How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior.
Professor, I have excitement in my heart for secret tactics. I enjoy attacks that are surprising. Surprise attacks are safe with friends. Fewer injuries.
Pardon me. I've come to deliver vegetables we harvested in the village to the monastery's dining hall. Because of the season, I couldn't really pick that much. But I wanted to help you guys out, even just a little bit. We're busily planting seeds, so when things start to grow, I'll be back.
Interesting. Say, you're pretty good at this. I'll try extra hard, too. Good deal.
You know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired. Of course! If my muscles hurt, then I hurt. If they're hungry, well then I'm hungry too. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
Eating.
I'm happy to eat a...
Edelgard, Dimitri, and our own Claude. All the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder. I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
Yes.
Hello there.
Professor, so many people died in the battle at Grond, and here we are, preparing for the next battle as if nothing happened the day before. It's almost easier to think about war as theater, with the stage an entire continent. Something like that. If an accident happens on stage, the next day's performance must be unaffected. Everyone just pretends like everything is fine, focusing on their role in the play.
Oh, Goddess, hear my prayer. Please bless the deceased with peace everlasting, and may his soul rest in tranquility. You know, I used to see him praying quite often when I would come to the cathedral at night. I wonder who it was he prayed for back then.
You look like... This...
You there!
I've come here after getting chased out of the Empire. There's no place for our kind there anymore. But there are still many inside Empire territory who haven't abandoned their faith in the Church of Saros. I pray that one day we'll get the chance to rebuild the church within the Empire.
There's word that Claude has developed a rather interesting stratagem to capture the fortress. You know Fort Mercius's nickname, I assume. The stubborn old general, but there must be one or two gaps in its defenses.
As I suspected, they seem to be supporting the Imperial Army now, though I don't quite know who they are yet. Nor do I know what tricks they'll use against us next. We can't afford to let our guard down.
Professor, the battle at Gronder Field was gruesome, wasn't it? But perhaps it's irresponsible to look away, to close our eyes to the horrors of war. As survivors, we must ensure that all these lives were not lost in vain. We must see the tragic foundations upon which we'll build our future. May an age of peace rise from the ashes, so that all this sacrifice means something.
Right.
I think Hilda's quite a tactician, disguising ourselves as enemy soldiers to sneak in undetected. A stroke of brilliance. With this strategy, we can really snatch victory from the jaws of deceit. Yes, with you leading our fighters, I've no doubt the Empire will suffer an embarrassing deceit. Get it? Deceit again?
Please tell Claude not to give us any more ridiculous orders. I've reached out through all of my channels, but there are limits to these things. I'll have to recruit an entire town's worth of people if I ever plan on making enough Imperial uniforms.
I wonder how far we can get with this plan. Dressing up like Imperial soldiers to sneak in.
Claude said it could use some refinement. Any ideas?
Dress me as Edelgard? But we look nothing alike. On second thought, let's just stick to the plan as originally conceived. That seems safer.
Each time we take a step forward, more blood is spilled. But by spilling that blood, we're able to take yet another step forward. War is always a cruel affair. But luckily, we have each other to lean on. We've steeled our hearts. We won't be broken. I couldn't agree more. Without them, we could never have made it this far. Oh, and about taking the fort, I'll need a tad more time to prepare our plan. It's called an impregnable fortress for a reason, after all. My contingencies need contingencies this time, or we may not pull it off.
Each step closer to Enbar, I'm reminded of another part of my past. Riches and poverty, glory and failure. That city has it all. And if I'm honest, sometimes I miss it. That's how the past works, though, isn't it? It's always a different story than what you really lived.
Fort Mercius is the Empire's single most fortified military installation. Utterly impregnable, they say. I wonder, do you happen to know the nickname given to Fort Mercius? That one is a fortress that stands at Fodlan's throat. Seems Fodlans give everyone and everything a nickname. Why, you were called the Ashen Demon. Myself, I have been called the Father of Crestology, which is a nickname as well as a title, I suppose.
Let's see. Guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see. I suppose I could see a whole horde of enemies coming and run away. That's kind of useful at least. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now. I'm gonna put my eyes to real good use.
Some say they saw Gilbert, who used to serve in the Knights of Seros, at Gronder. Apparently, he was originally a Knight of the Kingdom, who served Prince Dimitri. He was an exceptional knight. I wish I could have fought by his side.
Fort Mercius is a keep that was constructed to defend the imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, the city should be almost entirely at our mercy. Whatever strategy you have in mind, I have faith that it will lead to victory.
My breath.
we may not have a lot more chances to eat together like this. But don't go getting all sentimental on me, got it?
No morbid talk allowed while we're eating, Balti. You hear me? None of us are dying anytime soon.
Professor!
Hey you, listen up. I've got something to report. I hear there was a huge battle recently. Glad to see you made it back safe and sound. Maybe there's life after death, or maybe that's just a bunch of pretty words. Either way, we should live like our time here is all we've got.
Pardon me.
Got a wager for you. My friend says there's twice as many women in Abyss as men. You think he's right? Good eye. You win. Here, have a little something.
What do you require? Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Yes. Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Now let me see. Marvelous. This one should be Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Now let me see. Marvelous. This one should be proud of their Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Yes, indeed. Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Yes, indeed. Now let me see. Marvelous. This one should be proud of Now let me see. I expect much from this one. Yes, indeed. Now let me see. Marvelous. Fare thee well.
It's not that I don't sympathize with Lady Edelgard's goals, mind you, but perhaps not to the point of shedding blood for her ideals. I must keep her example in mind as I chart a new path. Peace in Fodlan and a restored House Nouvelle shall be my guiding star as I blaze my own trail.
I hear Hilda proposed a genius plan, that right? We've got a little strategist on our hands. Not too long ago, she was just a tiny girl who couldn't do a thing on her own. Now look at her. She's the fiercest of the fierce. I wonder what Holst would say if he saw her now. I bet he'd be proud. Just like me.
If the Empire rallies its forces and attacks Garrett Mach, I'm not so sure Abyss will be okay. If we're not careful, it'll end up buried in rubble. Ever the valiant one. But nobody ever knows how a war will turn out. That's part of the deal, you know. Maybe I'm being paranoid. But I want to ensure there is still a refuge for people to escape to.
People have always fought, I guess. Bandits and nobles clashing over territory, things like that. So before the war, when folks talked about how peaceful everything was, I thought, what continent are you living on? I get it now.
A few isolated skirmishes here and there are nothing compared to a full-blown war. The one truly peaceful place I've known was the village where I grew up.
No, please. You can't tell anyone you saw me here. I'm in hiding from the army. I couldn't stand the war, the violence. I had to get away. But now that I've deserted, I can't go home. Justice, ambition. What does any of that matter if you're dead? I just want to live. Is that so wrong?
Huh? I hear there was a pretty spectacular battle up there recently, but we don't hear a lot about that stuff. There was a lot of talk when it first started, but 5 years on, it's just a fact of life. What? There have been lots of battles on the surface recently? I hadn't heard. See what I mean?
I have told you already, I am quite all right.
You say that, but
I do not care what you have to say. I could not bear to stand here and do nothing.
Flane?
Hey there, Flane. Looks like Sedith is as overprotective as ever.
Eavesdropping, were you? Well, you are spot on. I do wish you would leave me be and learn to trust me.
Listen, Flane. Before I take a stab at your true identity, there's something I want to ask.
And what is that?
Sedith is your father, isn't he?
Pardon me?
I've been thinking about this for a while, and my latest theory doesn't make sense otherwise. That overprotective attitude of his, it seems like more than just sibling concern. More like a father protecting his only daughter.
How can you be so sure? Hilda's brother and Raphael are quite similar, are they not?
They're both pretty clingy, sure, but even they are willing to let their sisters live their own lives. Whereas Sedith, there's something more at play there, an entirely different dynamic.
I imagine that is because
Even taking into account your special blood and the people targeting you because of it, I feel like Sedith has devoted his whole being to you, like only a father would.
Have you confronted my brother with your theory?
As if he'd tell me anything, even if I did. Though maybe if I tried to trick a reaction out of him. I could try calling out, "Daddy!" from behind him when he least expects it. Nah, he'd probably kill me if I tried that. Not a good idea.
That sounds most entertaining. I would love to see you give it a try. Perhaps you could request a...
Father, please grant me your daughter's hand in marriage.
I can feel my face turning red.
Hey now, don't joke about that. That's something that should be done properly when the right time comes.
Do you mean to say that the right time will come eventually then?
Well, you never know what the future holds. But forget that for now. I want to talk about...
As though this were something easily shelved. This topic holds far more appeal than that of identities, if you ask me.
Do you remember this place? This is where your dagger almost took my nose off.
Ah, yes. The poisonous spider.
You really scared me senseless back then. I thought I was about to die.
I would not take a life without reason.
Ever since then, I've been intrigued by you. Somehow, I keep returning to this spot.
For a nap, I'm sure.
Ha! You see right through me, don't you? But it's true that I think about you a lot. What are you gonna do once the war is over? Have you decided on your next place to belong?
I haven't given it much thought.
Will you go back to Dagda?
There was no one waiting for me there, and no reason to hurry back. Besides, I've grown accustomed to the nomadic lifestyle. I can make do wherever I find myself. Though, I may be interested in visiting Almyra.
Almyra? That's a bit out of nowhere.
It's as far from my homeland as possible. That's reason enough for me. And you? Where will you go?
Oh, I haven't decided anything just yet. But if you're heading to Almyra, maybe I should pay a visit to Dagda.
Why would you do that?
Because it's where you grew up. That certainly warrants a look. And once we've both seen our fill, how about we plan to meet back up somewhere in Fodlan?
And do what?
We can tell each other where we're headed next. Who knows, we might find ourselves belonging in the same place again. Though if we do, I hope it'll turn out to be more permanent than this temporary coincidence.
We can decide where we belong when we get there.
True. The future's more fun when you don't know what it holds. I look forward to finding out, Shamir.
Mercedes, I have heard that you are the daughter of imperial nobility. Is that the case?
It is.
And you have a crest as well. Is that not so?
Again, it is.
Why did you not tell me? I was under the impression you were a commoner.
I didn't mean to hide it from you, but you never asked. Besides, I am considered common now. I don't care to flaunt my noble past or my crest. I have no desire to return to that status.
Then, if I may speak hypothetically a moment, does that mean that if a nobleman were to offer you his hand in marriage, you would decline?
Not at all. That's a separate matter entirely. Even if I were to fall in love, regardless of their social status, I'm not looking to marry right now.
What a relief. Forgive my rudeness. I am merely envious of your flexible outlook. It is a posture that I might very well adopt. Not to say that I hang upon your every word, of course.
You mean in terms of love and marriage?
Precisely. Status should be no impediment to love.
But if you marry a woman who isn't a noble, then haven't you neglected your duty?
Not exactly, no. What I said was that my marriage must benefit House Gloucester. So long as that holds true, the bloodline of my partner is actually irrelevant. For instance, if she bore a crest and was at one time considered noble...
Well, now that doesn't sound flexible at all. How can you know if someone will benefit your family? Would you investigate her before allowing yourself feelings? That doesn't sound very noble of you.
That is not what I...
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I was only teasing. I'm sure your lack of tact is what women find so irresistible.
Come again?
Oh, nothing at all. I hope you do your family proud and fulfill your duty.
Yes, I most certainly will.
Let's put the match on hold for now, Lawrence. Or if you can't wait, we'll say you won.
No. Let us resume it later. You haven't yet had the chance to use Thunderbrand.
You weren't using a relic either. If you had been, you would have won easily. Even without it, you're stronger than I expected. You seem to be fighting more intensely than usual.
Under ordinary circumstances, I'd have surely lost. But I had a vested interest in testing your character. If your swordplay relied at all on the dirty tricks of a fugitive, I would have felt compelled to defeat you.
Are you saying you fought more ably because you had a sense of purpose?
Not as such, although I admit that when we crossed blades, I became envious of your strength. I caught a glimpse, in your elegant swordsmanship, of an aspect of the noble ideal that I yet lack. That envy is perhaps what drove me to fight so hard.
Interesting.
I was also able to satisfy my curiosity. You are no criminal, but rather a lady of great conviction.
That might be an exaggeration. I've done some things I'm not proud of.
Modest as ever. Another of your noble qualities.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm no longer a noble.
Whatever your title, The responsible use of power is the very hallmark of nobility. Deny it all you like. The way I see it, you are indeed a true noble.
I don't want to be a true noble. I won't be tied down by any stuffy idea of nobility. Although, if this is your way of flirting with me, perhaps I can be persuaded otherwise.
That's rather sudden.
Tell me, Lawrence, do you often woo noble women? As a true noble, I must be an ideal target for a fellow like you.
Since you put it that way, apologies, but I confess you've rendered me quite speechless.
Lighten up. I'm just teasing. You're clearly not ready to woo me.
Not ready? Do I not suffice for you? Is there some flaw that I could conceivably correct?
You're more open-minded than you used to be, but you're still so hung up on status and lineage. If you became a more tolerant person, maybe it would work out. What matters isn't someone's blood, it's what they want, what they fear, what they accomplish. When you understand that, let me know, and I might just fall for you.
Just wait and you shall see, Catherine. I fully intend to live up to the very highest of your standards.
Hi, Raphael. Lovely weather today, isn't it?
Sure is. Staring up at the sky on a clear day always reminds me of my hometown.
What was it like there?
Let's see. Well, it's a real calm and peaceful place. Big, clear skies, too. Just like this. It's full of friendly people and delicious food. Talking about it makes me want to go back.
Yeah, it's a shame we're stuck fighting in this war.
Right? I wonder what my little sis is up to. She's probably grown so much by now. I haven't seen her since I came back to Garrick Mach. She probably wouldn't even recognize me anymore.
I'll bet she would. How could she possibly forget such a such a terrific big brother? There's no way.
You really think so? That's a relief. All this relief's making me hungry. Want to head to the dining hall?
Oh, actually, we can eat here. I cooked something up for us today.
Oh yeah? I won't say no to that.
I heard you really like meat, so, here you go. It's my first time cooking something like this. I can at least guarantee it isn't poisoned.
Meat? That's my favorite! I'd probably eat it even if it was poisoned.
Is it, good?
That was amazing!
Really? You like it?
So tender, so juicy, so full of flavor. It was practically falling off the bone! The flavor was so rich and sweet! Wait, how can meat be sweet?
Is sweet bad? I thought it was pretty tasty myself.
No. It was delicious! I couldn't believe it. I'd eat more fruits and vegetables if they were this good. If all food tasted like this, I just don't know what I'd do with myself.
Well, if you like it, I wouldn't mind, making more. Whenever you want, really.
Really? That would be great! We gotta get this war over with so you can have more time to cook!
You know, I'd actually like that.
Hey, Ignatz. Drawing again?
I am. I suppose that's rather irresponsible, as we're in the midst of a war. But ever since we last spoke, I felt keen to pursue my artistic aspirations.
Like I said, it's your calling. Don't feel bad about it.
All right, I'll try to embrace it. And you, are you practicing archery today?
More just double-checking this bowstring. I want to make sure it's ready for the next battle.
Okay. Well, let's both do our best.
That's the spirit. Does that mean you finally accepted that you're an artist?
I'll try to discuss it with my parents after the war. There's little demand for knights in peacetime. In fact, painting might be a more reliable way for me to support my family. I'll try to persuade them with arguments along those lines.
Good point. I'm glad you've got some confidence.
Come to think of it, Leonie, what will you do when the war is over?
Me? I'm going to become a top-tier mercenary.
A mercenary in peacetime?
Even after the war's over, there'll be plenty of work for me to do before peace really takes hold. I'll pay what I owe my village back, with interest. After that, I don't know. Never thought about it.
I'm sure you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Hardly. Lots of options just don't suit me. I mean, could you imagine me as a songstress? But yeah, I don't know. Once I paid off my debts, I guess I'll just have to find something new.
I don't think there's any rush. You can travel and relax, and think about it.
Travel, huh? There's an idea. Want to come with?
Huh? Me?
Sure. You were really excited about different styles across the world, weren't you? Don't you want more of that? Maybe even see the sky in a new shade.
Yes, I suppose I do. I'd like to see the whole world.
If your parents object, we'll just say I kidnapped you. Actually, feel free to say that even if you go alone.
Oh no, I want us to see the world together. Your presence makes every landscape more beautiful.
Hey, hold on. What's this all of a sudden?
Oh, that's not what I meant.
You're hilarious, Ignatz. There's never a dull moment with you around.
You seem to have lined up your desserts very meticulously.
What you see before you, Lysithea, is a life choice.
Oh, really?
The most skilled pastry chef in the army has been asked to do the impossible in the heart of wartime. Source high-quality ingredients, employ advanced baking methods, and create these two pastries.
Wow. You've put a lot of thought into this. May I?
Of course. You can have but one, though. And it should be noted that they taste completely different. I thought I'd split them between us, seeing as they were made so carefully and are so very, very special.
Ah, thanks. So, what exactly is the life choice you mentioned? Also, if you are not partaking, I'll just go ahead and eat them both.
Oh no. For you see, if you eat one, you simply cannot, must not, eat the other. Should you eat both, a pair of ingredients, one in each pastry, will combine to poison you.
That seems unnecessarily intense. Just one won't kill me then?
Of course not. But making this choice means you will not be able to taste the second dessert. Ever. No matter what I tell you, you'll never know which one tasted best. And if you are underwhelmed by your choice, you'll regret your decision forever.
So, I should just pick one and be done with it.
But you've already chosen, haven't you? Not between the pastries, but your life path. You would gamble on the chance of living a long life, even if it meant losing your two crests. Correct? Hence my current choice.
Wait. Whose choice are we talking about now?
A shortened lifespan doesn't necessarily mean a short life. Even with two crests, you might live a long time. And with you around, the study of crests will undoubtedly reach previously unimagined levels. On the other hand, getting rid of them could help someone that I care about. Maybe. Or maybe it won't help at all. Unfortunately, one never knows until they eat the pastry. Even then, you can never taste them both.
Hang on, Linhardt. Do you mean to tell me you care about me? Since when?
When indeed. You are someone I care about, though. So much so I wish we could be family, you and I.
Family? That escalated rather quickly. Although, having more family does sound nice.
Anyway, I need to be going. Oh, and feel free to eat the pastries. I made up the poison bit because I didn't know how else to say what I wished to say. And because... well, because I believe there are choices we can make where you can have both. I'll show you somehow, before the war is over.
Are you sure these aren't poisoned? Linhardt, wait! Wait! Felix! I've awaited this fated day.
You don't change. Still prattling on about it.
Aw, come on. I just want to hear what you thought of the cake I gave you.
It was edible.
If by edible you mean incredible, then yes, I agree.
It was satisfying and lightweight. I imagine it would be quite useful as a battlefield provision.
Please
must refrain from lumping delectable cake into the same category as provisions.
You're upset and I don't understand why. I'm complimenting the cake. You cured my dislike of sweets. For that, I thank you.
You have an interesting way of giving compliments, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yes. Got any cakes on you?
You say that as though I just carry cake on me at all times. Did you want some?
That's not what I meant. If you baked a cake, however, I wouldn't object to eating a slice.
If cake is what you want, you can just ask me directly. It just so happens I have a brand new recipe I tried out, special for you. It's delicious and not overly sweet. Perfect for you.
Okay.
Go on, take a bite. You love it, I can tell. Here, try this one out too. See? So amazing, huh? Just keep working on that sweet tooth of yours. Then we can share cake notes together and eat cake together all the time. That is, it just sounds nice is all.
Okay. That does sound nice.
You fought well in that battle. You've improved.
I couldn't have done it without you.
True.
What? Come on! You're supposed to disagree and compliment me instead.
Fine. In the past, you were reckless. Lately, you are less so. You are more considerate of your allies, and much easier to fight alongside.
Whoa, now that's enough. Getting compliments from you is kinda weird. But I get what you mean. I feel safer on the battlefield when you're out there with me too. I always trust that you've got my back. I guess we make a good team.
I can't disagree.
Hey, do you remember that time I saved you and almost got myself killed? You were pretty mad. That actually had a big impact on me. After that, I decided I had to be able to save you without getting hurt myself. So I started paying more attention. I read your movements in battle and stayed out of your way. Before I knew it, it was almost like I could read your mind.
An interesting concept. We have become a very efficient team, but you will never understand my thoughts.
Not true. I know exactly what you're thinking.
Then prove it. What am I thinking right now?
Right now? Let's see. You're thinking that I'm a reliable ally in battle, and you'd like to keep fighting by my side. And you think we're connected. Yeah, that's right. Even though we come from different places, you feel a bond. That was all just wishful thinking, wasn't it? I guess I'll never know what's actually going on in your head.
Wishful thinking?
Huh? Oh, I probably said too much.
You did indeed.
If you'll excuse me, I gotta go find a hole to bury my head in.
Don't worry, your wishes aren't so far from the truth. Now, shall we be off?
Huh? What do you mean? Shamir, wait!
Flame, is something the matter?
I thought I made it clear that I do not want you meddling in the affairs of me and my friends.
I am not quite sure what you are referring to, but I promise you I would never try to stand in your way.
It has come to my attention that you have been running about asking people what they think of me. Asking everyone.
Well, of course I have. It took me quite some time. But for you, it was well worth the effort. I was able to confirm that you are getting along well with everyone. It was very reassuring.
I cannot emphasize enough how embarrassed I was when I found out. And you have caused such a stir for those whom you questioned. Why, one person even said he feared for his life when you cornered him in the dining hall.
The dining hall? Ah, I know the fellow you are referring to. Yes, I've seen the way he looks at you. I recognized in an instant that he had impure feelings for you. As your brother, I took it upon myself to test his resolve. I merely asked him if he was prepared to lay his life on the line for my beloved sister.
He is nothing more than a friend. Kindly keep out of my social business in the future.
I am happy to see that you are making friends, but you should weigh your options more carefully.
Who I befriend is absolutely none of your business. Do you know what they call people like you? Overprotective meddlers. I am no longer a child. Are you incapable of trusting me, even a little?
Of course I trust you, but as an elder brother, I have a certain responsibility.
As my brother?
Obviously.
Oh, never mind it. If you'll excuse me.
Sedith?
Hello, Manuela. Is something the matter?
You surprised me is all. Though not as surprised as you when you found me here before. I've never seen you offering up prayers so solemnly.
I suppose I do typically make an effort to come here when no one else is around. Many look to me for guidance. I do not wish to disturb anyone's prayers with my own. But I did not come here only to pray.
Really? Then what were you doing?
I was swearing an oath to Saint Cethleen. She is a special figure to me. It's become part of my routine to swear this oath before her likeness. More than any other, she wishes for a peaceful world. I believe it is my duty to grant her wish.
I had no idea you held such a passionate secret devotion, Sedith. The legends of Saint Cethleen do depict her as a kind, proper, and honorable woman. And she was so gentle and quiet, really kept to herself. It's no wonder you're infatuated with her.
I think you may have misunderstood me.
It must be very lonely to be so in love with someone from the distant past.
She is very special to me, yes, but not in that way.
You don't have to hide it from me, Sedith. I can keep a secret, but people from the past are gone. No matter how much you care for her, she can't love you back. Now then, if you turned your eyes to me, I could respond to your deepest, most powerful feeling.
You are completely mistaken.
Hey, Sedith. I've been meaning to ask you, what is your relationship with Lady Rhea?
That is certainly an abrupt question.
You're much closer to her than anyone else in the entire church. Certainly you're a good, upstanding person, but I can't help but feel there's something more to it.
Supporting the Archbishop is my sole professional interest. Personally, I consider her to be something akin to a companion.
A companion?
Yes, as in a traveling companion. Friends who walk the same path toward the same destination.
Companion, huh? A companion. I guess that does sound about right, now that you say it. Though, I'll confess to being quite jealous. Not many people can call themselves companions of Lady Rhea.
I do not know how she feels about it.
Oh, come on. You must trust that she feels the same about you.
There is no need for that sort of trust. My duties are the same regardless of her perspective. I consider you to be a companion also.
A companion in fighting for the Archbishop.
Certainly. Our goals are firmly aligned when it comes to that, are they not?
You're right, they are. I suppose you and I could be considered companions in that sense.
I am pleased to hear my sentiment reciprocated. I rely on you a great deal, after all. More than most.
Whoa there, what's all this now? Flattery won't win you any prizes with me, Sedith.
I do not flatter. I merely want you to understand why it matters to me that you be more cautious in battle. As your companion, it is my wish for you to be safe.
Oh, good, we're back in familiar territory, with you admonishing me. Don't worry, I'll be careful. I'll always try to live up to your expectations, so don't expect too much or you'll wear me out.
Rings. You make the...
That was... You're pretty...
Professor!
I see.
Professor?
Right. Thank you.
I'm counting on you.
Yeah. Good enough?
Can't let this power...
Yeah,
And that's how it's done.
Good to know. There are so many differences between bows and blades.
Yes, you're a quick learner, Leone, and quite a good teacher as well.
Must be Captain Gerald's influence. The weather, the terrain, the enemy's feelings. You have to find ways to make it all work for you.
I agree. A warrior can't stick too closely to predefined tactics. That's quite shrewd. You're impressive for a girl.
For a girl? Come on, you're past that. Looking down on your opponent is a great way to fall into a pit trap, isn't it?
I suppose that's true.
Glad you remember.
I still have much to learn. Not only about swordplay, but also about thinking on my feet. I hope to learn more from you, Leone.
Count on it. We'll come up with plenty of new ideas if we work together. Guess that means we're partners, doesn't it?
We're what?
Partners. Friends who help each other improve.
Huh. Partners. That's not bad.
Not at all. Looking forward to working with you, partner.
Likewise, partner.